welcome to the Get Stops podcast. This is the official podcast of Princeton women's basketball. I'm your host, Jon Mozes, as we get you set for the Ivy League tournament. Princeton and Harvard are slated for the semifinal. Columbia and likely Penn in the second semifinal. That's coming up this weekend, but we're celebrating our seniors here down the stretch of the regular season. Parker Hill is with us. Parker, hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm good. Ending up midterm week, progressing quickly through the second semester. It's coming up quick.
Is this the fastest in terms of time that a semester has ever felt like for you?
Yes. Yeah. No, it's blown by. It's been very
Really?
quick. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned 2 classes. What are your 2 classes this spring?
I'm taking a class on affordable housing. I'm actually deviating from my major. I'm an anthro major, and I'm not taking any anthro classes this semester. I'm taking mostly policy classes. So I'm the affordable housing class that I'm taking, and then I'm also taking a seminar on the Affordable Care Act.
Wow.
With Professor Howard here, who runs the GHP program. I've known her for a little while. She's very good friends with my best friend and roommate, is a big fan of women's basketball and just is great. So I mostly took it for her, but it's been a very cool class so far.
I gotta say, you must have some professors like that you've developed relationships over the years. Who do you see most often at games?
She has been one of my most frequent attendees as of late. But I did bring some of my anthro professors to the Bring a Professor game. This year we had most of our home games on break, so it was a little
bad luck.
It was a little tougher. But different people every year depending on kind of who I have classes with. But yeah, I'd say Professor Howard right now is showing up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anthropology major. Mm-hmm. Thesis time is on the way.
Yeah. Undergoing.
So where are you sort of at in the thesis process?
Yeah, I took kind of a unique approach with my thesis. Anthropology, most of the thesis has ethnographic components of it. I did not go with that route based off of the timeline of when we did research. Winter athletes obviously don't have winter break or fall break or spring break to go do research. So I had to kind of know my topic really advance. And I actually remember submitting my first draft of my IRB proposal, the ethics form that you have to fill out before you're doing research, while we were at March Madness last year. I was in the hotel freaking out because the deadline was that day. And so I had to kind of fast track my research for over the summer. So I ended up going to London for a month and doing archival research at the National Archives there.
Oh, wow.
Which was really cool. And so my thesis topic, when I started that research, was kind of undefined and very loosely figured out. And so it's kind of narrowed down to the UK constitutional law, because I'm also pre-law. And then to make it more politological, I'm looking at the cultural divide between England and Scotland. So
fascinating.
Yeah. So it's very interesting for me. I'm a dual citizen there.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So my dad's English, so I have the passport and everything, not EU anymore, but it's definitely it's a place I'm familiar with and hear about all the time because my family's from there. So it was kind of a personal topic for me. I'm also pre-law, it fit well. And then the anthro major provides a lot of flexibility with your topic and the dimensions of anthropology you can do. So I'm doing legal anthropology.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been kind of all over the place in research and timelines and things because it's not very standard for anthro majors to do research in the summer, the type of research I'm doing, or honestly, anthropology hasn't studied. Legal anthropology is less developed than other fields of it, and then the location is not very anthropologically studied because it's a very Western power, and historically anthropology has been studying the other or more unknown places.
Sure.
And so there's not really much to work with, which makes it exciting, but also a little stressful.
So I can. So the thesis is going to land on cultural differences between.
Yeah, so it's going to be about the legal infrastructure of the UK, and how that is emblematic of the Anglo-Scottish divide.
Wow.
Yeah, so all the nuances of that are still being written as we speak, but yeah, that's the overarching topic, and then obviously the Brexit vote and things like that, which are more recent, are going to come up in the later chapters, and the whole EU component of the the idea of like internal colonialism within Scotland and the UK, and then the UK being overseen by the EU. So there's a lot of different dimensions to it, but
yeah, that is
it's a lot to unpack.
Interesting. Yeah, and I'm aware of this. So my stepmom is English. She's from Bath, so she still follows, English politics a little bit, and the royal family, which we all have a laugh about.
Yeah.
We call her Mother Superior in my home and in my family now.
Lovely.
But I guess, would you ever live in England?
I loved it there when I was there for a month. I mean, I would love to live there. I mean, it's tough with law because I want to study law. I'd have to kind of know where I want to live to like study it. With like, their legal system is very different. Like, you don't go to undergrad really, you go to law school. So like,
straight pretty much when you're 18, 19. You got
after A levels and stuff. So
oh wow,
yeah, it would definitely be different, and obviously like the law is different because it's different countries and all these different things. So I would kind of need to know where I want to live vaguely before I started studying. So it's an option, but we'll see.
Do you think you'd be the best basketball player playing in England if you were to step over there?
Maybe not the best. I think I would do all right over there. I mean, Abby's over there now. I would never want to put myself on the level of Abby Myers, but but she's in London fair. Doing really great. But yeah, no, I mean, that's something I looked into, and I'm looking into. I'm trying to play overseas post grad somewhere, and whether that's like through a grad program or just playing pro, like that's something I'm looking at. And obviously, because I'm a citizen, I'm definitely looking at the UK.
Sure.
Because it probably is a little easier. But yeah, no, I would love living over there.
Probably also have some pretty good people to ask about their experience between Grace, Abby, if you want to reach back to other teammates that you didn't cross over with. And I think like it's good to ask about like Grace and Abby, right? People that you played a lot with that were pretty significant in your sort of first experiences at Princeton. Like when you think about the lessons that you gathered from players like Grace Stone or Abby Myers, what comes to mind?
Well, so they're both amazing players, which you can see through their just their track record. But I remember distinctly because Abby is from the same area I am at. We went to high schools only like 5 miles away from each other. And in fact, I probably live closer to her high school than I did my own. So I like very much knew who she was. And like anyone in DMV basketball kind of knew who Abby Myers was. Yeah. So I actually had the privilege of working out with her before I came to Princeton, which was really cool. We worked out over the summer together, and it was still kind of like COVID era. Like I hadn't played organized team basketball in like a year and a half at that point, which is kind of scary to think about going to college with that. But so some of my first like experiences with like the college players and like college level like workouts were with her. So she definitely was like one of my first impressions of working out with them, because we obviously didn't have like official visits. I hadn't gone to the camps with this coaching staff. So I hadn't had like any of those things. And so like Abby really was one of my first experiences with Princeton basketball.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say that Abby's the most impactful teammate you had in your first year or two when you were on campus?
Ooh, that's hard to say. Impactful in different senses. I think she was like a unanimous team captain. Like she obviously works really hard, is really good, and like is very determined to whatever she puts her mind to. And I think that was definitely very beneficial. I think there were a variety of players that kind of like filled different roles in my like most impactful experiences here. Like Kira Emsbo and Lexi Weeger were both my like kind of mentors a little bit. Lexi was like my freshman year buddy, and Kira was just like always hanging out with us, especially because like we were kind of playing a little bit more on the bench, and she was injured our second year. So those were also some people that really like were formative in my early experiences. But yeah, like everyone, I think Princeton, our team culture just is pretty good about like upperclassmen really extending a hand to underclassmen.
Yeah, I've sort of noticed that in my years covering the program with Parker Hill on the Get Stops podcast. Tell me about memories you have from your first full team practice when you arrived freshman year.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Wow. Our first team practice was kind of intense. We started off with this passing drill, which I remember us doing better than history will say we did. But I remember it's just like a 4-way passing drill. It's a lot about communication and just like being loud and calling each other's names. It's a lot about those little nitty-gritty details, which are very important. But I remember the next year when the next class came in, they were like, yeah, you guys did way better than last year's class did at the beginning. I was like, oh, okay, I thought we did okay. But that was like one of the first drills we did. And then it's a lot of just getting used to the like intensity of it.
Sure.
Because like a lot of the drills, while not one-to-one, are like exactly the same. They follow the same concepts of stuff that you do in high school and AAU. Like, you know, you work on playing live, you work on transition stuff, you work on skill stuff. Like a lot of it follows. It's just faster people with better endurance, and like it's just a lot more athletic is the first thing that I noticed, I think.
Right.
And again, like it had been like a year and a half since we'd had like team practices.
Yeah, you had
so
that sort of lengthy period.
It was kind of a jump. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. But I do remember we do this one drill, the corral drill. And it's like two people on the baseline, they throw the ball out, and then it's like a 1v1, whoever gets the ball, and it's offense, defense, and you keep going until someone scores. And I think it's like, it's two teams split on the baseline, and it's to a certain number. I think it's usually 7, but varies.
Okay. And
I remember that drill got so intense. Like it really highlighted how competitive people were. Just like yelling. And one of course, the key of it is that when you catch the ball or like grab it, you have to yell corral. And a lot of people forget that, and it was like really interesting to see how on it people were with like being sticklers with that. Yeah, which is good. It's like holding ourselves accountable, but that was definitely like, wow, okay, geez, like everyone's very competitive, which is good. But again, no team basketball in like 2 years. It was like, oh my gosh, right? Yeah, that's how it works here. And fun, like I remember the intensity of that drill like very peculiar, or like very strongly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably one of the first like basketball practice memories I have here.
Okay, so if you could ballpark it for all the reps you've taken in javelin in practice, who have you given the most buckets to in a Princeton uniform?
Oh, well, it's tough.
Let's limit it to like live settings.
Live setting, okay.
Yeah, like 5-on-5s or.
I'm not sure whether to go the route of when it's a mismatch or when it's not, because we try to not have mismatches very often.
Sure.
And also like how long I've been playing with people. I'd be tempted to say someone in my own grade because I've been with them the longest. Just logistically. I'd probably say either Katie or Paige, just based off of who guards me the most. But between them, I couldn't really say.
You know, it's so interesting because, you know, when I sat with Katie on this podcast, it was clear to me that she is a really good player.
Yeah.
And, you know, that senior day moment where the 5 of you get to play together as a starting unit, I'm sure that's something you guys had in practice on occasion, but probably the first time ever you'd ever played together in a game. What was that experience like on senior day?
Yeah, I think it might have actually been the first time we've ever played together in a game, because there's the argument that like freshman year, like we go in the last few minutes like as freshmen, but I don't even think with our matchups we ever did that. So I think it is the first time we'd ever played all 5 of us, and honestly probably in a practice too. But I think like we just all had this chemistry of wanting each other to succeed, which I think you always have. But I think like senior day in particular has its like moment of celebration for everybody. So like I was just looking to have everybody score. So like when we finally had like the 5th person score, I was like so excited. And we all played really well. Like obviously Adaora and Ozzy had their career highs, and like everyone was just cooking. So I mean, I think it was really cool to play with everybody, and I mean we did pretty well. So
I was gonna say, like, in a vacuum, and this was a little bit of a topic of conversation among media types like me after the game, where it was like, those 5 Princeton players, if they played a 40-minute game against Ivy League opponents, they'd probably win a couple games.
Yeah,
as that group. Like,
I think so. I mean, I wouldn't have pegged Paige to be a 3 like off of just like looking at a scout, but she played really good at the 3 and like
interesting.
You know, expanded. I think she expanded the position she could play because she did great. It was not a problem at all.
Right, and you know that's sort of interesting about how this class is, where it's essentially 3 5s. Right,
yeah,
you, Katie, and Paige pretty much all end up playing the same position. But you also get to practice against Tabby Amanze every day.
Yep.
Right, and you guys are unique in that you're the same size.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is about playing against Tabby. Like, how have you gotten better as a player by the result of the practice reps?
Yeah. Well, very tough to defend and to score on. We might be the same height, but she's got length that I don't have. And so it's very challenging for me. And I think that has definitely helped a lot, in terms of like finishing over height, in terms of like working on like defending height and taller players. And she's also very strong. So it's not even just like a height thing. It's working on like staying balanced and making sure you're making good moves and like playing smart, because she will block you. She's very strong, so you have to know what you're doing and be confident in the shot you're taking or the movement you're making.
I mean, I guess, you were probably not surprised when Ashley Chia showed up, right? I'm sure you'd heard about her, you'd seen some Instagram stuff. But was there like a day in practice or a game early in her first year here where you were like, oh, she's different?
I personally, I see it a lot when we have to like switch in our defense and stuff, and then I have to guard her, and then it becomes very real. It's not something I would really love to do most of the time. But I think like she really showed out in terms of playing in the same realm as like Caitlin did, but in her own manner. Like they played more differently than I think a lot of people would admit, and she is like really great in her own right. Her step backs are killer. She's always had that. Like her confidence with the ball I think has gotten a little bit better just because she now starts and like is our first point guard. But I mean, she was killer from day one.
And I think I see some of that difference between Caitlin and Ashley, where Caitlin was a little bit more willing to set up teammates early in games. Like it felt like Caitlin's first instinct was to look to set up a teammate, where Ashley's first instinct to me looks like, I want to score the ball.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that. It definitely depends on, we definitely ran some sets differently and like worked through things differently. Obviously, like when Caitlin was playing, we were with Maddie, who was obviously a very dominant scoring threat. And like that definitely changes some things. So I don't know how much to attribute everything to them too. But I do think she is like a very dominant scorer, and that really helps the lot of us. Like just because of all the pressure she takes off.
And it's right, like it's an underrated part of this season that Princeton is in the position that they're in, a top 3 seed in the Ivy League tournament, a resume that is probably going to get them into the NCAA tournament, fingers crossed, knock on wood, as coach would do. And to do it all without Madison St. Rose for the whole year. I guess the big picture question is how?
Yeah. Well, I think that speaks to like our coach's recruiting. Like obviously Maddie is an amazing player and has done amazing things while I've been here. And it was a very like upsetting loss to like watch that happen live, like during game. But I think it speaks to just the quality of our whole team that, even if you weren't necessarily thought of as like a star player at the beginning of the season, you could easily rise to become one, just like slotted into the position. So I mean, I think we've bounced back really well from that. That obviously happened really early, so I'm even hesitant to call it a bounce back because it feels like we hadn't really even started by that point.
Yeah, the fourth game of the year.
Yeah, it was real early. So I think we adjusted that. We obviously had a couple games where we were like figuring it out and like adapting to it a bit. But I mean, yeah, I think it just speaks to the talent of like our whole team. No matter the minutes, no matter the spot, and how flexible people are to either step up or change positions or just do what they have to do.
Yeah, that's something that's really stuck with me all year, just about this team and the way it's all played out. Like, it's pretty incredible. But I do want to ask you about Adaora.
Yeah.
Who we're going to have in a few minutes here on the podcast. And I guess, how do you describe Adaora Nwokeji?
Oh my God. How does one describe her? She is just like a ball of energy, on defense, on offense, like on the court, off the court. She's just like such a bright presence in everything that she does. And, she's really funny. She's really like hardworking. She's really smart. I mean, I can't sing her praises enough. I wish I got to play with her a little bit more, but, she had some tough breaks with injuries and things, which, she has not let that set her back and still showing up every day and doing really well. So
I'm just imagining her like flying around some screens.
Oh my God.
At the top of the key. Like,
yeah,
just because she has such breathtaking speed.
Yeah. She is so fast. I remember freshman year, she and Nina, used to be on Scout a little bit more, and we would try to be like, okay, like 50%, 10%, like we're walking through this, and like you couldn't turn off the motor. It was just like way too fast,
Really?
the two of them. Yeah. And they would race after practice and stuff. And, that's just like, she's just that quick.
Is she the fastest player you've played basketball with?
Ooh, she might be. Toby's actually pretty quick too. I haven't seen them run like full tilt side by side, but Toby's pretty quick too. So, give her a couple years, maybe she'll be even faster. We'll see.
That's interesting because I remember Chet was not the fastest player on the team, but Toby, you feel like, is in that conversation?
I think so now. Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to gauge because we're not all out very often in an all out sprint, like, one rep through the line. It's like, so it's kind of hard to tell, but Toby's pretty quick too. So even when we all graduate, we're leaving behind a pretty quick player.
Well, this ended up going pretty quick, Parker. So much fun to visit with you on the Get Stops podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming by. We're going to step aside for a quick break, and then we'll visit with another senior, Adaora Nwokeji.
This is our promise. To protect your heart in every way we can. To give you a better quality of life and more time with your loved ones. To be your most trusted source for innovative heart surgery and procedures. And to bring nationally renowned care to every heart in every community. At RWJ Barnabas Health, our hearts beat for you.
Welcome back to the Get Stops podcast. This is the official podcast of Princeton women's basketball. I'm your host, Jon Mozes. Senior week continues. We're with guard Adaora Nwokeji. Adaora, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Catching you on a nice Friday.
Yes, very nice.
So it's midterm season. What
Yes.
midterms have you taken this week?
Wednesday was a big day for me. I had music cognition at 9 a.m. in the morning, and then I had 2 classes, practice, and then I had Math 103, which is calculus, at 7 p.m. So that's
a long day.
It was a long day.
9 a.m. midterm.
Yes.
Classes, practice, and a 7 o'clock class?
Yeah, midterm.
Midterm.
Yeah, that was a rough day, but
Calculus midterm.
right
at
after
7 at
that,
night?
I was done. So
Are those your two classes this spring? Calculus and...
I'm actually taking 3.
Okay, what's your third class this spring?
Law and literature. I'm taking it with Fadima.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of more her thing, but it's cool.
You're just doing it to hang out with Fadima?
Yeah, pretty much. Not to like gas or anything, but she kind of begged me to take a class with me because it's our last chance or whatever. But
She begged you?
I'm gassing it. But no, I wanted to take a class with her because this is my last chance to do so. So I was like, all right, I'll do it.
What is your favorite class you've taken at Princeton?
My favorite class, without a doubt, my sophomore year, fall, I took Performing Black in the 90s. Actually, Grace Stone was in that class with me as well. It was basically...
Did you beg Grace to take the class?
No, we actually, I'm crying. It actually, happened, pretty, randomly. It was about Black, culture in the 90s, and, that's something that I've always been interested on, I've always been a big Tupac fan. I love 90s R&B. I love 90s fashion and movies and stuff like that. So just to literally have a class learning about that. That was the first time that I had actually looked forward to going to class for real. I would look forward to it every Tuesday, Thursday. I would look forward to going to that class.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that always the way with academics for you? I can't imagine it was. For you to end up at Princeton, right? So what are the classes that you always wanted to go to when you were growing up?
I always enjoyed math. I'm a neuroscience major, so I do a lot of math. But yeah, I always liked math. I like figuring out puzzles and things like that, and math is kind of like that. I was never an English girly. I'm not a big writer, or history. Don't like to read much.
Okay.
So I would say math and science, which really matches up well with my major and what I want to do in the future. So
yeah. So what do you want to do in the future?
I'm pre-med, so
you
med school, yeah.
Dr. Nwokeji someday?
Yes,
Goodness,
someday.
doing what part of neuroscience?
Actually nothing to do with neuroscience.
Okay.
I'm just studying neuroscience because it interests me, but I want to go into surgery, not on the brain, on anything else. I'm not sure what yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
I feel like sports orthopedics is something that maybe fits.
Yeah, it definitely would be. It's definitely interesting. I think I'm trying to find like something that has that I could do surgery, but also have like a work-life balance. I think Amelia is really interested in orthopedic surgery, though.
Oh,
she
wow.
would be a great surgeon.
Wow. Yeah. What makes you say that about Amelia?
She's just very like level-headed. Like she's a molecular biology major and pre-med, and like I know what it takes to like get through like all the pre-med stuff, and like she like nothing seems to ever faze her. Like you know, in like at any time. Like I've never seen her crash out before. Like
Really?
never.
Not
She's
even like a bad practice. And
she's the most positive people that I've ever met. Like
Wow.
positive, level-headed, like yeah.
I remember the story that sticks with me about Ozzy. I was doing a game with Julia Cunningham, and she was like, I remember when Amelia showed up freshman year in practice, first shot, she'd hit a 3 right in my eye. Every game, every practice.
That's
Didn't
Ozzy.
matter. And she's like, I hated that.
We call her Saucy Ozzy.
Saucy
Because,
Ozzy?
Yeah, she'll pull out some crazy her bag is deep. Her bag is deep. She'll pull out some crazy moves. She'll hit like a between the legs step back 3 on you, and all you can do is just like be like, good shot, Ozzy. Like
I mean, it was really nice to finally see that on display.
Yeah.
Senior day against
Yeah.
Yale, where the 5 of you get to play together. What was that experience like?
Man, that was literally the most fun I've had in a game. Like top 3 in my entire life, for sure.
Why?
Like, I just think that like my class, like we're so tight. We really love each other, and we were out there like playing for each other. Like, that's really special. It was like it felt like literally like I guess they say like art in motion or whatever. Like sometimes they call basketball that. It felt like that. Just like anytime one of them would score, like the way like our teammates got hyped for us, the way the entire like crowd, our families, like the fact that our families were there, like it was just such a special day. And also Paige at the 3 was killer. Paige at the 3.
Parker was just talking about that. I never had it on my bingo card that Paige Morton would be a really good 3.
Me either, but hey, her bag is deep too.
You know, it's funny because I feel like over the course of your career, you've developed this reputation as like bench vibes,
Yeah.
right? Like, where does that come from?
I just think that like I like to have a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? Like I obviously like dealt with a lot of injuries that have kept me sidelined for a lot of my career here, and I feel like my mindset is that like, you know, I'm hurt today, I'm gonna be like still injured tomorrow. Am I gonna have a good or bad attitude about it? Like it's better to have a good attitude about it. And also I just love to see the people that I'm close with and the people that are in my circle succeed. So when people are on the floor and they're doing well, like I love to cheer them on. Like I love to get hype for them, and you know, I just like to have a lot of fun. So like as many people on the bench that I can like involve in that, like I love to do that.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like there's somebody on the roster that's always standing at the end of the high five line during intros, and like that's a role I think you were perfectly made to play.
Yeah.
What are some of the favorite like high fives or greetings that you've done with some of your teammates in 4 years here?
Like for the starting lineups?
Yeah.
For starting lineups, I really liked Ellie's. Cause it's a handshake between LeBron James and his son Bronny.
Oh.
Like we kind of like we took a lot of inspiration from that, and it was like kind of hard. I don't even remember it, but it was kind of hard. But every time we would do it right, like we would get super hype, and like it was like so fun. I like that handshake. In terms of like other like, you know, like celebrations, like handshakes that I've done with my teammates, me, Kira, Katie, and Nina when she was here, we used to do crazy bench celebrations.
I remember some of those.
Yeah, like crazy bench celebrations. Sometimes like when somebody would get an and one, Kira, who's like six.
She's 6'5".
6'5".
She's huge.
Yeah, would like pick me up. I'm not very tall, and she would pick me up, and I would like go like this, and Nina would like dunk in my hands.
No.
Or like Katie would. It was
awesome.
so fun. Yeah. It was like fun stuff like that.
I gotta say, like, that's always one of the first things I look for when I'm like just, you know, trying to get a feel for a basketball team.
Yeah.
With you guys, it was pretty easy to figure out. It's like, okay, like Adora's queen of the vibes. Like everybody seems to be happy. They play for each other. I guess, I'm curious about like lessons that you feel like you're going to take away from this coaching staff, right? Like something you feel like you got from coach, something from LB or LD. Like, what are the big ones that you're going to take away?
I would say from the coaching staff as a whole, how to prepare for like big things. I think that one thing, like especially when I first came here, like the amount of film that we like go through, the amount of like scout and like preparation we go through for each game, like sets us up for success. And so I'm definitely taking that away with me. Like for it doesn't matter how like big or small something is, like prepare the same way for every time. Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like at one time you could really give Lauren Dillon quite a few buckets.
I do my thing every once in a while,
Well, like
she's a bucket though. She's a bucket.
She can really play.
She's quick too.
I know. She's really quick. She was a pest on defense. She played for Carlos, so obviously she's a menace.
Yeah.
But the offensive display that we were watching in that Yale game for you, I was just sort of dreaming on it because I feel like it was a lot of the similar stuff that I saw your first year playing in that Texas game. Right, which I'm sure like meant a little bit something to you, like being from Texas originally, you're playing against that university, which I'm sure at one time you thought about playing for.
Yeah.
Like, tell me a little bit about sort of your high school basketball experience and how that sort of informed your way to get to Princeton.
So I would say in high school, Texas basketball is different.
Insane, right?
It's different. Like, I mean, in my high school, we were pressing man-to-man full court 40 minutes or however long a high school game
32.
is. 32. Yeah, literally all game. And that's kind of like the culture that I came out of. Like, it's just like, like we played like some dogs, like for real. And Texas, when we played Texas, like they played Texas basketball. Like, I know not all of them are from Texas, but they played Texas basketball. They're very physical, very athletic. They play fast. Like they want to run on you. Like they want to dog you. Like, and actually like a lot of the girls on the team I've either played with or played against like in high school. Yeah. And yeah, that game was really special. And I scored my first points in that game actually, and my family was there to see it, and that was really special. But in terms of what I learned from high school that I brought to here, I would say like one thing, like my high school coach, like we were the Bulldogs. And so like, I mean, it was just very fitting because like we called ourselves like dogs. Like we play like dog defense, things like that. Just like having that dog mentality of like, you're not going to outwork me. Like you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like you might be more skilled, whatever, but you're not going to outwork me. Like, and I also feel like it doesn't matter who you put in front of me. Like I'm going to lock you up. Like I'm going to do everything I can to try to lock you up. That kind of mindset, I definitely brought that into college with me, and I take that into every practice, like trying to make like, especially like our point guards better. Right. Like Ashley, Christina. Like I play a lot of defense on them in practice, and I just try to like get in their shorts as much as possible, so that in the game it's a little bit easier. So yeah. Yeah,
because I'm just imagining like what it looks like to play against you. Like with you playing defense, like I would have no chance. Like I probably have a size advantage, sure, but like I couldn't put the ball on the floor against you. Like there's no chance. Like I'm dead. Well, I'm sure that like that's really helped Ashley over the course of this season, like playing against you all day, right? Like. I feel like that's one of those sort of underrated parts of why this team is good, is that the players beyond the first 5 or 6 on the roster really push everybody else to get a lot better. Yeah. I guess my question is, like, where do you see it going with this team? Like, when did you know that Ashley Chia could be this good?
Literally the first day I saw her play. Like, she was so fun to watch last year. Like, so fun. I think that she was really, it's hard coming in like as a point guard, like speaking from experience, like coming in as a freshman and you're a point guard on like a D1 college team, you have to know, still expected to know like all the plays, all the actions, like literally everything. It's so overwhelming. And I think that she did a better job than she thinks she did, like in terms of like taking all that in and applying it to like what she was doing on the floor. I think she's really, one of the things that makes her great is that she's very like hard on herself, And I don't think that she realizes like the things that she's already accomplished and the things that she can accomplish. But yeah, like that girl's a bucket. Like her bag is crazy. Like she's a bucket.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And I got to say, like, playing with Fadima Tall seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's a post player or she's a guard in a post body. Right? Like, when did you see it with Fadima?
With Fadima, literally, I remember before her freshman year, we were at camp. We were working at camp, and we had to like do like one-on-one for a drill or something. And I'm a pretty fast like player. Like I like move pretty quickly. And I remember I got her off the dribble. Somehow she caught up with me. And Fadima is really strong. I remember she bodied me and I was like, ooh, like, dang, like she's literally a guard in a post body. Like literally, like she was quick enough to catch up with me. And she was strong enough to like literally like almost put me like flat on the floor. And yeah, so like I knew like she was gonna be solid in the college game. And also Fadima, like that's like literally like my little sister. Like literally. Like I literally tell everybody that I have two brothers. I don't have a sister, but I imagine having a sister is what like me and Fadima's relationship is like. And that girl is the most competitive person that I've ever met, in the most like in the best and the worst ways. It's so annoying sometimes. But that competitive nature, like it's unmatched like when it comes to like the things that she could do on the floor. Like nobody's going to outplay her. Like nobody's going to outwork her. Like if the game is close or whatever she has to do to help the team like come out on top, she's gonna do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who do you think's a player that doesn't get enough press on this roster that you think should be getting more recognition?
I gotta think about that one because I really believe that our team is really deep. So I could say a lot of people. Let me think.
Yeah, you're right on the spot. We only need one, Adaora.
Yeah. Let me think. Katie
Thierse.
Yeah.
Why?
Katie, I have a lot of respect for Katie. I think that she definitely doesn't get the amount of attention that I think she deserves, but she still comes with the same intensity every single day. She's also like a great leader, a great person, and I think that she's like really good at basketball. Like I think that she's like one of the strongest people on our team. I know that. Like that girl, I don't even know the number that she can hang clean. Like she hang cleans like plates. Like she's so strong. And like she's super tall, super strong. She can also shoot the ball and she can move pretty well as well. I think that when she gets on the floor, like for how many minutes that is, she always makes an impact. Yeah, I think Katie's was the first person that came to my mind. I'm thinking of like a bunch of different other people because like there's just so many like great players on our team, but I think Katie is the first person that comes to my mind.
She's also the breakfast raider, right?
Oh,
yeah. Are you part of those rankings? Like, do you throw?
So
some
let me talk about
opinions?
the breakfast rankings because me and Katie low-key have beef about it because like you know what I'm saying? Like we all put our input in, but at the end of the day, it's not really a democracy. Katie's gonna put whatever she feels. So like sometimes like we all like it's like funny like we'll all like be like arguing about it at breakfast and stuff like that, but it's like really funny.
What's the best breakfast you've had this year?
This year,
just for the record,
DePaul.
Ooh.
Question mark.
Okay. Early.
Yeah, DePaul.
What made that such a good team breakfast? Just for the record.
Cannot even tell you. I just know that like when we rate stuff, like it's like, well, DePaul was this, so like, is it that good? Is it as good as DePaul? But I don't even remember. Like, I don't even remember.
I remember at the NCAA tournament last year, there was an omelet station, which was
in Iowa.
In Iowa,
yeah,
there was
making omelets for us. That was awesome.
Awesome.
And that trip felt like a fever dream. It was like March and it was snowing. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed in the hotel across the street from Carver Hawkeye, or from the football stadium at Carver Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And we woke up. I think it was the first or second day we were there.
Yeah,
Snow covered.
That was fun. That was fun. And then like pulling up to Iowa for our shoot around, which is like hours before the games even started, and people are wrapped around like 6, 7 like blocks, like waiting for Caitlin Clark to get on the floor. That was crazy.
Yeah, the Caitlin Clark experience was like pretty cool.
Yeah, like it was so fun playing there. It was so fun.
Well, I mean, except for the result.
Yeah.
You know, Carla reminded me pregame of that game that she was like, I actually played one of my last college games here. Like, we lost in the NCAA. Right. Right. She dropped that on me the day before in our pregame interview. And I was like, oh no, bad vibes. Like, what do you remember? And she's like, I remember all the black and yellow and I remember losing.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. But I think that before I got here, didn't they play Iowa? I think they won like on a buzzer beater.
Yeah, so that would have been the 1920 season. They played at Iowa.
Julia hit it, right?
Julia hit a game-tying 3 at the end of regulation.
Yeah.
They lost by 2 in overtime.
Oh,
and that was the
so
one loss in the 1920 season for Princeton women's basketball, the year that ended early. Can you imagine how, like, where that team should have gone? Carly Littlefield, point guard.
Yeah.
Abby Myers, Bella Allery. Like, come on, guys. Like, that's the greatest team of all time.
That was a squad. I miss Abby. Like she was a great senior to have.
Me too.
Like when we were freshmen, that was like a great senior class. Her and Nina, that was great.
Oh yeah, great vibes, great encore player, so much fun. Adaora, this was fun. Great to see you.
This was so fun. Thank you for having me.
Our thanks to Adaora Nwokeji and Parker Hill for stopping by the Get Stops podcast. Princeton Tigers headed to the Ivy League tournament, and we'll catch it up for you after that.